honest, we're going to be talking about technical SEO. We're not going to cover everything in this episode about technical SEO because it's quite a bit and there's a lot of things going on with technical SEO. It can be really complicated, but it's also one of the easiest things to get started on when it comes to SEO. So it's one of the most complicated aspects of it, but it's also one of the easiest to actually move forward with. All right. So with that said, what we're going to first cover is we're going to look for a random business in a random location within the United States, and we're going to analyze their technical SEO, and we're going to showcase how we can actually develop a strategy for our site so that we can develop good technical SEO based off of our competitors who are already ranking really well for the keywords that we want to rank for. So I picked a random niche in a random location in the United States. I asked ChatGPT to give me a random niche. They said home decor in Asheville. I'm just going to change that to home remodeling. I have no connection to these businesses. So I searched for home remodeling Asheville, North Carolina. This is going to be pretty much the same thing that someone is going to look for. The only difference is instead of Asheville, North Carolina, they're going to type in near me. If I did that, I would get something entirely different. I want to click something that's completely random for this example. So in real life, someone would actually search for home remodeling near me. In this case, we're actually just typing in Asheville, North Carolina. This is going to be the same thing because SEO is based off of a locality. If I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm typing in home remodeling near me, same thing is going to pop up. Now, with that said, let's kind of go over these rankings. Number one, we see these sponsored placements. These are folks who are paying Google ad money to actually rank in the top for home remodeling in Asheville, North Carolina. And then we have folks who are ranking in the top 3 in the map pack for Asheville, North Carolina. This is Google My Business. This is completely separated from the website, but they are related because it is Google. And we're going to talk about optimizing for Google My Business so that we can rank in the top 3 of the map pack. But we're going to cover that in a different episode because that requires a whole lesson in of itself. Right now, we're just focused on on-site SEO and what we can do for our current site. So that leads us to the first website that's ranking number 1 for home remodeling for Asheville, North Carolina. So we can see they're Asheville Remodeling Contractors, and the name of their business is Judd Builders. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. So there are a few components when it comes to technical SEO. Those components are going to be your headers, which is going to be right here, your headers, how we relay the information to Google. That is the most important aspect of our site. We're placing all those important keywords on our site using headers. There's going to be a variety of different headers, and each one of them have different weights. There's H1, which is the most important, all the way down to H6. Most sites are not going to have an H5 or an H6 header. They usually are going to stay within the H1 and the H4. H1 is the most important, and you should only have one H1 header attached to your homepage or any other page within your website. If you have any more than that, it actually sends mixed signals to Google. So what I see with a lot of businesses is they actually create multiple H1s, multiple H2s, because on a designer standpoint, it automatically shows up as the biggest. So what I mean by that, let's go ahead and go to this Word document here. Here's an example. I can do the same thing here with Google Documents. If I click down here and create a new line and go here to normal text, go to header and apply header, I can say this is header 1. Same example above here. This is header 1, this is header 2, header 3. I don't change anything other than saying that this is header 2. This is header 2. So you can see from a design perspective, a lot of folks, what they do is they just keep it on H1 when they want to convey something really big, irregardless of whether or not that that thing that they're trying to convey is the most important aspect of your page. So what tends to happen is there's multiple H1s on the site, and there is a lot of mixed signals coming to Google. We want to have one H1. We want to signal clearly what it is that we're trying to go for and what we're trying to convey to Google. And then we have all the supporting headers and supporting keywords, and we can have that with H2s, H3s, H4s, all the way down to H6s. We can have multiple H2s, but it just needs to make sense. So if it's something like home remodeling, maybe we have kitchen remodeling. That kitchen remodeling aspect could be H2, and then maybe it's something like tile repair. That's kind of categorically below your kitchen remodeling. That might be an H3 tag. So think of it as like a hierarchy of what we want to convey with our information. That's one component of technical SEO. The other components of technical SEO are going to be website speed, backlinks, and a few other things. So we're actually going to start with analyzing competitors. When we search for our keyword that we want to rank for, we're going to look at the top 3 folks that are ranking. We're going to analyze how they're doing with their headers, their word count, and everything like that. And then we're going to create a plan and a strategy so we can utilize that information to place onto our website. Okay, so let's start with the #1 ranked site for home remodeling in Asheville. I'm going to use a free tool. If you're using Google Chrome, this is a free tool that you can install to Google Chrome. This is actually going to give you a lot of information on the site when it comes to SEO, and it's called SEO Pro Extension. And you can find that. We're actually going to send that to you as well. It should be a part of this lesson plan. So first things first, we see a few things. I see multiple H1s. This is not a good thing. Now, this site is ranking #1 for this particular keyword. So there are some things that they're doing really well and some things that they're doing wrong. We do see clearly that they have their title as Asheville Remodeling Contractors, name of their business, Asheville, North Carolina, yet again. So this is again signaling to Google that they're in Asheville, they're remodeling, they're contractors, and the name of their business. In the description, this is called our meta description. Anytime you see a description or anything like that, we do want to include a description, and we do want it to be keyword focused, and we want it to be focused on our main keyword. So we do have here that they're focused on the Asheville remodeling and contractors aspect, as well as home remodeling. So they do have some really good signals in their meta description for their keyword. And then we have their word count. So we have a total word count of 1,014. And I'm going to showcase how this is important when we do the analysis. Right now, I just want to walk through this first example. So if I go to headers here, I can start to see which ones are their H1s. Their H1s are home remodels right here, as well as experienced Asheville remodeling contractors. What they should be doing is they should change this home remodel to H2. Now, going back to that designer standpoint, showing, I want this font, this phrase to be really big, so I want to label it as H1. That doesn't necessarily need to be the case. You can change that to an H2, and you can just simply change the font size. It's not locked in. It's simply, for a lot of builders, it's there to help you very clearly and accurately label, hey, this phrase is for H1. It's not there for a design standpoint. On a design standpoint, you can very easily change the font size, okay? So don't think, oh, I have to structure this on a design standpoint for my H1s. That's not the case. The H1 labeling on website builders is strictly there for SEO. It's not there for design standpoint. Okay, now with that said, what I would do for this particular site is I would just relabel the home remodels to an H2 tag. It's totally fine that they have home remodels. However, they are sending some, it could be potentially mixed signals here. If this H1 was something like, I don't know, just Asheville, North Carolina, or some random other city in North Carolina, I don't know, Raleigh, North Carolina, if they had something like that, that would be a mixed signal. Google would not understand, are they in Asheville? Are they in Raleigh? Things like that. Now, looking at the other headers, I do see they have a lot of headers. They have a lot of H3s and a lot of they have a lot of H3s. So in total, they have, what is that, 29 headers, which is a solid amount of headers. Now, they have a really big homepage. That might be okay, but more often than not, that's probably too much. Let's see if they're using those headers correctly. So we see here home remodeling services in Asheville. This is right here. That's totally fine. That's good stuff there. They have kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, all of this stuff, garage remodels, so on and so forth, in just regular paragraph text. Totally fine. And then what they do is they have pictures here showcasing different remodels that they've done in different areas of North Carolina that's probably surrounding Asheville. I'm not super familiar with Asheville, but I would imagine that Biltmore, Forest, and Fletcher are probably really close. So what this is actually doing, we can see here that they have H3 tags for each one of these pictures in one of these homes. This is actually showing to Google, hey, we're uh, located near these areas. It's not Asheville. We're not saying that it's as important as Asheville. We're ranking this as an H3 header, so it's less important than an H1, which we have with Asheville. But we are showing to Google, hey, we do work with different homes in different areas, including these areas surrounding Asheville. So they are showing that in the H3s. Now, that doesn't mean that you should just try and stuff and throw different cities in that you want to try and rank for. If you're in, let's say, New York City, or maybe you're in the outskirts of New York City, but you want to rank for New York City, that doesn't mean that you just start throwing Brooklyn, Manhattan, things like that into the page. You got to do this correctly. So that's what they have so far, which with their headers. I do like the use of those. I think that's a good use case for those different locations and showing how they're going to be found in different areas. They have mentionings and paragraphs and things like that. That's going to actually add support to their headers and things like that. So what we would want to do is we would want to look at the other top three ranking sites, number 2 and number 3, and we've developed a very simple Excel sheet. There's nothing crazy here. You can do the same thing here for you. If you want to just use ours, we're going to email this as well in your lesson plan. But what you want to do is you want to apply the analysis to your site first. Label how many words are on your home page. Label how many headers are on your home page. And then we want to label how many are optimized for your keyword. And what we mean by that is you're going to use this free tool for all the things that you're doing with your analysis here. When we go back to headers, we're looking for anything that's making mention of Asheville. We're looking for things that are making mention of home remodeling, or maybe even remodeling contractors, because that's our main keyword that we want to rank for. So we would count which headers are utilizing information in relation to that. So whether they're mentioning home, remodel, contractors, or Asheville, that is when we count that as an optimized header. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19 optimized headers. So we would go back to our sheet here, and we would say 19 optimized headers. So we would do the same thing with your site without applying any sort of analysis, any of the strategy yet. You want to get a standpoint as to where your site is. And now we would want to label what our primary keyword is going to be. Our primary keyword in this instance is going to be home remodeling and Asheville, North Carolina. So if we have a one-word phrase, we would want to label each one of those as just one word. So home and then remodeling, those are 2 words that we want to rank for. Same thing with Asheville, same thing with North Carolina. Match words are going to be anything that's similar to our main keyword, our main primary keyword. So our main primary keyword is home remodeling. So it's going to be really similar to home contractor. Any instance of home contractor is probably another keyword that we would want to try and rank for. So we'd want to mix that in with home remodeling. Same thing with 2-word phrase. It's probably going to be redundant. If our main keyword is home remodeling, that's also going to be our 2-word phrase that we want to rank for. We can do the same thing with a 3-word phrase. Could be Asheville, North Carolina. That's a 3-word phrase. We want to count how many times that's showing up. 4-word phrase could be home remodeling, Asheville, NC, North Carolina, abbreviated. That's a 4-word phrase. We can count all that stuff, anything that's sort of adjacent to home remodeling, Asheville, North Carolina. We want to capture all of that information and we want to record it. We want to do that for the top 3 sites, and then we want to record the average. So that tool that I showed you is going to show you the amount of words that are on the site, how many headers, how many words are going to be used, and things like that. So if we want to count the words that we're using, what we would do, again, we're going to Pro Extension. We're going to go, sorry, wrong tool. We're actually going to pull a different tool. We're going to use SEO Quake. So you have two tools. Again, this is going to be included in your lesson pack. You have your Pro Extension, SEO Pro Extension, and SEO Quake. SEO Quake is going to be used for your word analysis and seeing which headers are optimized and things like that. So let's go ahead and do diagnosis. This is going to pull up all this information related to the particular page. So we can even see this gives us a diagnosis of things and what's going on here. So let's go to page info. Okay. So with page info, here is where we're going to see the density of the words, how many times it's repeated, and where it's going to be located. So home, asphalt, remodeling, remodelers, builder, that's at City Biltmore, homes, project, and then the name of the company, Judd Builders. So we would, if we want to show or record how many times or how many iterations of our main keywords are being shown up on our competitors, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to look at this and we're going to say, hey, home is repeated 25 times. We're going to go over here to our main keyword. Let's just pretend that this is home remodeling. And we're going to say that this is 25 times. Okay. So we'll move this over here. Okay. So then we would do that all throughout each one of those pages, and then we have an average. Okay, so the next thing that we want to look at is we want to look at how many links are on these home pages. We're going to be looking at what's called internal and external links. And we're going to have a lesson completely on internal and external linking because these are really complicated aspects of SEO that need a full lesson in and of itself. But in this particular instance, what we're doing, we're just getting a count for how many links are being sent onto the homepage. When you think of an internal or an external link, internal link is anything that is, just as the name implies, internally linked. So if you have a contact us page or a home page, the home page might link to the contact us page. If you have a blog and your blog is talking about how to replace the tiles in your kitchen, that could link to kitchen repair or kitchen remodeling. That's an internal link to those pages. And we're going to talk about how to really optimize that and what we want to go for with internal links. But that is in essence what that's going to be. External link is anything outside of your site that's referencing your site. And in this particular page, the home page. Think of it almost as like a referral. Google is the person who doesn't know you. The websites linking to your site are the referrals that are recommending to Google, hey, you should check out this site for home remodeling. We recommend it. It shows authority. It shows that your site is what you say you are. So what we're going to do, same tool, we're going to go here to links. We see here 76 total. Don't necessarily worry about the internal links or the external links. You can count them if you'd like. But what you're going to want to do is actually just label 76. And then we need to look at which ones are optimized. And we're going to touch on this a little bit. Your anchor text is anytime someone links your site. So if you can imagine you're reading an article on, I don't know, CNN, Fox, NBC, what have you, and it says something like name of person that they're interviewing, their credentials, and then from location. So it might be, we interviewed LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers, so on and so forth. And then it might link the Los Angeles Lakers to the Los Angeles Lakers website. I don't know, something like that. So you can see that hyperlink in Los Angeles Lakers. That's your anchor text. That's basically telling, hey, Google, this website, this is about the Los Angeles Lakers. So if you have someone linking to your page and it's your main keyword, so in this case, home remodelers, If it's saying, hey, we interviewed John from Judd Builders, a home remodeling company in Asheville, North Carolina, there's a slew of anchor text there that could be really beneficial that you would want to link to, or that you would hope that they would link to. So it could be home remodelers, could be your linked text. So this is what we look for with internal links when we optimize the internal links. So this is why all of this stuff is really important. So we can export all the links if we want, and we can actually just go through and look at which ones are optimized. But essentially what we're looking for with the anchor text, we're looking for any mentionings of home builder. So right here, there's no mention of home builder inside the anchor text. Right here, custom homes, this is one. So custom home builders, that's one anchor text. Two, home builders. Then we have Asheville. Three. So we want to look at our main keywords and we want to see which links are optimized for it. So this is why I say technical SEO can be really complex, but it's also really simple in how you would do the analysis, because it is really just kind of counting and things. The complexity of it, it comes from understanding what it is that you're trying to count and what you're trying to go for. So that's internal link, or sorry, that's links, counting links and looking at it for the technical SEO competitor analysis portion of this. The next thing that we can do is we can actually add SEO components to our images. So if we have an image of a home, we can add home remodeler to that image, and that sends another signal to Google that this page is all about home remodeling. Images are a great way to include SEO for our site. So sort of the same thing here. We're going to be looking at the images and we're going to look to see how many of these are optimized. So we would want to record here the total amount of images for this page. And then we're going to want to say how many of these are optimized for the particular keyword. So again, we want to have a balance here. We don't want to have everything just be home remodeling. Maybe we would want to have something like Asheville, North Carolina, maybe home remodeling Asheville, North Carolina, maybe the Biltmore, North Carolina, those kind of things. So really, when our analysis is taking place, we just want to see what's the average of the image SEO that's optimized for these pages. So we're looking at this, we're looking at pretty much the same thing, anything in the tail here that mentions the keywords. So Asheville kitchen remodels, that's one. Let's see, custom builder, Asheville, that's two. And then we would go all the way down to the last one and count that. And then we'd see, okay, here's how many are optimized. And then we would record that into the sheet here, and we would get a full picture. What is everyone doing that's ranking in the top three? What are they doing that's getting them ranked for these keywords? And that's going to put us in a prime position to help us rank for the top. Now, there's one last thing I want to cover with technical SEO and kind of getting you set up for technical SEO. This portion is a little confusing, but essentially what it is, it's called Schema. It's a code that we place onto our website that again tells Google exactly what the website is about, and it's just another identifier for Google to help understand what it is the website is all about. It's all about technical SEO is all about giving Google the right signals for them to understand exactly who you are and where you're located. So let's go back to our trusted tool here. We're going to go to SEO Pro Extension. For our competitor, we want to go to Schema and we want to look at it. There are so many different types of schemas. There's web page schemas, there's article schemas, there's organizations, there's local businesses, so on and so forth. We want to have local business or organization on our homepage. If you have multiple locations, you would want to be an organization. If you just have one location that serves a general area, you'd want local business schema. Here, what we have is a web page schema. Now, this web page schema is telling Google that they're home remodeling services in Asheville. So it does help a little bit. However, this could very easily just be a blog about how to create a home remodeling business in Asheville, North Carolina. It can also be just a blog on how to replace your tile and do manual home remodeling services for yourself. There's no clear indication whether or not this is a business. So if someone one of Judd Builder's competitors wanted to really try and overtake them, this is one thing that they could do that would give them an edge. So it's all about making sure that everything is tip top and giving us the best bet for us to rank. This isn't going to give you a clear advantage. You're not going to jump from rank 20 all the way to 1, but these are signals that are going to help you. And all of this stuff takes time. This takes time for it to update, and it's going to take time for you to actually see the fruits of this, maybe anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, and then we're going to build on top of this. But this is the easiest part of SEO, technical SEO, just adjusting the things that are on the site that's already there to help us move forward. So let's finish this conversation with schema. How do we add it? How do we find the right thing? You can go to schema.org. You can go here to schemas, and you can get a full list of types shown on one page. And you're going to see just a lot of kind of nonsense. Like I mentioned before, we would want to be either a small business or a local business, sorry, or organization. So I can type that in, but if you don't know it, you're not going to know what to type, right? So I can type local business, search for it, and it's going to pop up, but this is going to give me a list of what's available. So if I were to click organization, it's going to pull in all of this stuff. And what you would need to do, technically, that no one does anymore, is you would actually need to code based off of this information. You don't need to do that. What you need to do is you can type in Schema Generator on Google, and you can go here to something like Schema Markup Generator. From Schema Markup Generator, all we need to do is actually tell them what you want to create. So again, it's similar. You kind of have to understand what it is that you're looking for, but this does a better job of letting us know, hey, are you looking for maybe one of these things? So we're a local business. We want to create a local business schema. We can create a specific type for local business. We can just simply type here. So let's just do home. Let's go ahead and do home construction. Here we can add more specific things. So let's go ahead and do general contractor. We can enter the name. We can enter the URL of our business here, the phone number. We can add price range. We can add the logo URL if we want to, street, your city, your zip code, your country, your state. If you have a brick and mortar, definitely add latitude and longitude to your schema. But once you fill out all this stuff over here on the left, it automatically updates the code. And then from here, what you would just do, you would just hit copy. Now, if you have a web developer who kind of handles a lot of these elements and the behind the scenes with the code and all that stuff for your site, you can just send this to them and say, hey, this is the schema for my homepage. One second, I got a cough. I got it. Now, if you, like I said, if you have that developer, you can just send that to them. Say, this is my homepage schema. Can you add this to my homepage? And they should know what to do. You're actually just embedding a code into the header of your homepage. If you don't have a web developer who can assist you with this, what you need to do is you need to go to your website and do it manually. Now, I can't really do a good example of this that's going to show what it's like for everyone because every website is different. WordPress is different from Wix. Wix is different from Squarespace. Squarespace is different from, Show It. There's so many different website builders out there, so many that are better than the others. I always recommend for folks to be on WordPress. WordPress, 40% of the internet, something like that, is on a WordPress site. It's by far and away the best when it comes to optimization across the board, design, SEO, things like this. However, right out of the box, WordPress is probably the most complicated for folks. You have to install things to make it a lot easier to use. So I think that's where a lot of friction comes into play with WordPress because people are looking for something that's easier for the design element. Design is really great, and I'm a huge proponent of design. I love design. I'm a creative person. But think of it as having a really beautiful, beautiful home, but you don't have any way of getting people to your house and no one knows that you're there. We have to have a mixture of a beautiful site and have basically a great attraction so that people can come through. And that's where SEO is going to come into play here. So with Schema, what we need to do is you need to find your homepage within your website, and you need to embed a code. Again, there's no one website builder is the same, so this is a generalization, but most should have something like SEO or embed code or something along those lines. If you're on WordPress, you can actually install a plugin called Rank Math, and there's a free version of this as well as a paid version. I recommend the paid version, but the free one is better than most paid ones, not sponsored. I use it for all of my client sites. Um, and you can add the schema there very easily. You don't even have to do all of this stuff. You can just say, you just fill out all the stuff when you set up Rank Math, and Rank Math automatically sets up your page for the correct schema. So it's really, really nice. Outside of that, that's the technical SEO markup of this. I highly recommend you to do a technical audit on your site as well as your top 3 competitors and see what they're doing so that you can rank and overtake them. But this is just one key step for SEO, and we're going to go over so much more in these next lessons.